Today is Tuesday, February the 15th, 2022, and it's a great day to have a day here on the Spurs Up Show, the best Gamecocks podcast on the internet. And on today's show, I break down tonight's game as South kind of looks to make it back-to-back wins as they travel to Oxford, Mississippi to take on the Ole Miss Rebels at the Pavilion at Ole Miss. Guys, I'll break down the game in its entirety. First things first, we'll talk Ole Miss, also top storylines, Rebels players to watch for, keys to the game, and I will lock in my prediction as well. Folks, we got a packed show for you on this Tuesday, and of course, as always, it's brought to you by the Spurs Up Show store. Guys, be sure to check out our latest drops, hoodies, hats, t-shirts, pullovers, stickers, you name it, over at tsus.store. That is tsus.store, the best Gamecocks merchandise on the internet. Again, guys, we are constantly updating our inventory in regards to what we are offering. We've got a lot of new stuff in regards to baseball season upcoming as well. New koozies, new merch, new drops, you name it, you have got it. So again, guys, be sure to check out the Spurs Up Show store over at tsus.store. That is tsus.store, home of the best Gamecocks merchandise on the internet. Let's get it. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, happy Tuesday. Hope you're all doing well. I'm Chris Phillips, your host of the Spurs Up Show. As always, appreciate you all tuning in. I hope this show does find you well, no matter where you are, what you are doing. Again, guys, appreciate it. Hope you had a fantastic Valentine's Day, by the way, however you spent it. And very excited for today's show because, of course, it is game day as the Courtcocks return to action in a pivotal game. When you look at the layout and the landscape of the final 6 games of this season and just what the Gamecocks and Frank Martin are playing for at this point in the year, of course, they are all big games. And certainly that is the case tonight in Oxford, Mississippi, as the Gamecocks look to make it back-to-back wins against Ole Miss. Guys, going to break down that game in its entirety. Before we do, though, really quickly, first things first, I have to start with a correction from yesterday's show, an error that I made that I want to make sure I correct first things first here on these airwaves here on this Tuesday. Now, as you all know, when you're crunching numbers and you're making predictions and you're pulling statistics, the numbers can get sort of jumbled up, if you will, and that was certainly the case for yours truly. So on the show yesterday, I locked in my season prediction for Gamecocks baseball, or at least I tried to, and I picked the Gamecocks to go 39-25 overall and 17-13 in SEC play. Here's the only problem. The Gamecocks only play 54 games. I predicted a 64-game schedule. So I messed that up. So here is my revised predictions, if you will. I already posted this graphic on social media yesterday, so you may have seen it. 37-17, 17-13 in SEC play. So again, guys, I apologize for the confusion. Again, pulling all the numbers and crunching the numbers and somehow, some way. I even counted game by game by game how many games the Gamecocks played, and somehow my math was just totally off when I put out those predictions. So either way, guys, I do apologize for that, but be sure to know my prediction for South Carolina baseball, their season, 37-17 overall. And of course, this is just the regular season, does not factor in postseason play. 37-17 overall, 17-13 in SEC play. So again, guys, that is my bad. Somehow, some way, I thought 39 plus 25 was 54, and I looked at it today, and I was just like, dude, like, what are you talking about? So 37-17, 17-13 in SEC play. That is my official prediction. Also, guys, before we get going, really quick reminder, tomorrow night, we are live at Tin Roof, 6 to 8, $3 drafts, $3 rumple. In case you missed it, last week was the first week. The new start time no longer is at 5 to 7. We are now live 6 to 8. So again, guys, cannot wait to see you all out there. And again, of course, the first Tin Roof live show with baseball. this week. How good does it feel to say that? But we're not talking baseball today, guys. We are talking South Carolina basketball as it is game day. The Gamecocks travel to Oxford, Mississippi, the Pavilion at Ole Miss, take on the Rebels. 7 o'clock tip-off on ESPNU. When you look at series history, and guys, I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, or really last week when we were talking about the Georgia game, and there are just some teams that Frank Martin and South Carolina have a lot of success against, and there are some teams they simply don't, and Ole Miss has been one of those teams that has given South Carolina trouble. Ole Miss leads the series 20-16, but they've won 3 straight in this series over the Gamecocks, including last year's meeting. In the last meeting, 2021, Ole Miss won that game by a final score of 76-59. You look at Ole Miss this year, though, it has been a very rough stretch for them, a very rough season, 12-13 overall. 3-9 on SEC play. Their head coach, of course, is Kermit Davis. And the Rebels average 67.9 points per game, and they're holding their opponents to just 67 points per game. So, again, when they are winning games, they are winning with defense. When you take a look at their schedule, Ole Miss actually coming off of 3 straight losses. They lost on Saturday to the Missouri Tigers, which is not a very good team. Lost that game 74-68. Before that, lost to Alabama. And then before that, lost to Florida in overtime. Their last win, guys, came all the way back on February the 1st at 25th ranked LSU. So against a quality LSU team, they beat them 76-72. But again, it's been tough sledding. Ole Miss on a 3-game losing streak. They are 10-5 at home this year, so been good on their home floor, but they will look to snap that 3-game losing streak against the Gamecocks. And as we dive into top storylines, guys, South Carolina does a really good job, their SID, everybody involved, of pulling these random statistics and numbers and sort of bringing light to these matchups. And one that really stood out, and it's where I'm going to start in regards to top storylines for this game, the dynamic duo of Keyshawn Bryant and Jermaine Kusnar. And listen, we talk about it a lot. I say it a lot, when these guys play well, South Carolina plays well, when Kus has a good game, when Keyshawn has a good game, you tend to win. Well, how about we actually put that into statistics? Get this, guys. South Carolina, when Keyshawn Bryant and Jermaine Kusnar score double digits, the Gamecocks are a combined 12-2. 12-2 when they score double digits. So it's no secret. If you want to win, if you want to increase your odds of winning, get those guys going, man. Get Kus going, get Keyshawn going. Again, the Gamecocks are, I believe, 6-1. 6-1. Yeah, 6-1 when Keyshawn Bryant scores double digits. They are 7-2 when Jermaine Kusnar score double digits. So, it's no secret. How can you get these guys going? Can you keep them hot? Of course, Keyshawn Bryant with a huge game in Athens. He absolutely owns the Georgia Bulldogs. And then Jermaine Kusnar, I've told you guys many times, I really do believe the best version of this team is when he is on the floor. So, again, guys, a combined 12-2 when just one of these two guys scores double digits. Can you get them going? Can you keep that trend going? Going to be very interesting to see if those guys can stay hot and continue to contribute for this basketball team. Guys, I talked about it a little bit earlier, and in my next big storyline, and listen, I've been very critical of the Gamecocks this year, and I think rightfully so when you look at the record and everything that's happened. But this game serves as a huge, huge chance to build momentum, a huge chance to build momentum and really get things going. You look at Ole Miss. I mean, you've got a better SEC record than them. And it's weird when you look at the SEC standings, guys, just the way that everyone is sort of beating up on each other. You got a couple of elite teams at the top, the teams like the Auburns, the Kentuckys. But outside of that, I mean, it's really just a bunch of teams beating up on one another. And so somebody's got to go to the tournament. Somebody's at least got to go to the NIT. It's games like this one. And I know, listen, you just beat Georgia. And I'm not going to sit here, guys, on this Tuesday and get carried away because you beat the Dogs and all of a sudden you turn a corner. Hey, I say this, thank God you played Georgia twice and Vandy twice, because right now you're 5-7 in SEC play. And guess what? 4 of the 5 have come against those teams and then a bad Texas A&M team. So I'm not going to overreact to what happened over the weekend. But you know what? Momentum is a fickle mistress. Ole Miss has none of it. They've lost 3 straight. You're coming off a huge win in Athens. Can you build on that? Can you build some momentum and get things going? Because, hey, you got this game in Oxford. What if you can get the job done? Then you've got LSU on your home floor. And when you come home, LSU's a quality team, but I wouldn't say they're world beaters. by any stretch. So, hey, as we get closer and closer and closer to the end of the season, these games get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you find yourself right now with the opportunity, something you have not done a lot this season, which is put together back-to-back SEC wins and get yours truly one step closer to getting a tattoo of Frank Martin on my ass, which I would love to do it. What a story that would be. Next big storyline for me, guys. Does the trend finally stop here? And here's what I mean by that. As I've said before, when the Gamecocks, this has not been a team that's going to break your heart necessarily. They're either going to win or lose by double digits. And you all know what I'm talking about. You're 5-7 in SEC play. 6 of your 7 losses have come by double digits. Now, do I think Ole Miss, even if you lose this game, are they double digits better than you? Well, they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be, as they sit 3-9 in SEC play. And again, I don't think you're a great team, but I don't think they should be double digits better than you. Or can South kind of get the win on the road? Can they do something that they haven't done a ton of outside of going to Athens and looking really good and College Station and play well on the road and get a big time victory? But again, it's just been a very interesting trend to follow. It's like either South kind of wins or they get blown out. There really isn't in between. So again, we'd obviously love to see that trend continue on the side of the Gamecocks winning, but I just wonder, does this game follow into that trend? And, again, on the road, what type of performance does South kind of put up? All about the shooters shooting, guys. That's my next big storyline. And this statistic feels like a no duh, but it just really goes to show you guys when South kind of shoots the basketball well, and it's really under Frank Martin. Like if you look at the history of South Carolina basketball under Frank Martin, man, when we shoot it well, we win because we generally do play tough defense. We generally do play tough defense. And again, when we don't, when Frank Martin's defense doesn't work, we get blown out. That's where you see these ugly losses, but it's all about shooters shooting. The Gamecocks are 12-0 when they outshoot their opponent. Guys, there's no secret to it. You got to go out there and outshoot your opponent. You got to go out there and give yourself opportunities and make said looks, make open shots. You're 12-0 when you outshoot your opponent. Can you do it again? And my final storyline, guys, is this. Again, as you go down the final stretch here, and I've already gone on record and said, guys, there's just absolutely no way on God's green earth this team is going to make the tournament. But you know what? What I say doesn't matter. You've got swing games down the stretch. You look at this one. You look at Alabama. You look at Mizzou, maybe even LSU on Saturday, right? You look at those games. Mississippi State at home. You got swing games. We all understand the importance of swing games and these swing games down the stretch. And so if you're going to try to make any sort of run at all, and I feel like I'm a broken record saying something like this because we've talked about the importance of this game, the importance of that game, the importance of that game. Well, as you go farther in the season, they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and they get more important and more important and more important. And they really do truly serve as huge building blocks to what you're going to do if you're going to do anything in postseason play. The importance of a swing game like this, guys, it's just simply put a game you got to have. It is. Ole Miss is a 3-9 SEC team. I mean, listen, you're not going to beat Auburn, right? There's certain games I think you could look at the likelihood of winning, or if you had to put a percentage on each. This Ole Miss game serves as probably one of your more likely wins left on the schedule, a schedule that I look and I don't see that many, to be totally honest with you. The importance of a game like this, though, if you are going to build some momentum, if you are going to make an unlikely run to the end of the season, you got to win this one. You just flat out got to win this one. I know it's on the road. I know you haven't played Ole Miss well, but Ole Miss is not a great basketball team, guys. They've had their struggles. They've lost 3 in a row. They're down and out. They're 3-9 in SEC play. You've got to find a way to take advantage. Let's look at Ole Miss players to watch for, guys. You got to start with Jarkel Joyner, 14.5 points per game, 3.2 rebounds per game. Really, really good player for the Rebels. You then move to the big man down low, Nizer Brooks, 9.5 points per game and 8 rebounds per game. He leads the Rebels in that category. And then Matthew Murrell, 10.8 points per game and 3 rebounds per game. So again, while it's been a tough stretch for Ole Miss, they do have some quality players on their roster for sure. Let's move to keys to the game. And guys, I talked about this a little bit earlier, but my first key is simply this: keep Keyshawn Bryant hot. Because again, guess what, guys? When he scores in double digits, you are 6-1. 6-1, there's no secret, right? So if you can get him going, keep him hot, get him in double digits, the numbers at least say, the odds say, there's a good chance of you winning the ball game. So again, keep Keyshawn hot. My second key to the game, win the boards. I talked about Brooks, and I just feel like whenever Levesque plays well, Woodley, Gray, all those guys, you tend to have good performances. Again, win the boards. Don't get dominated on the glass. You'll give yourself a chance. And then finally, my final key to the game, master the zone. You've heard Frank Martin talk a lot about this, how they've gone from man-to-man to zone defense. And Frank Martin's not a huge fan of it, but you know what? If you've got to play it, be damn good at it, and it worked well for you in Athens, Georgia. Do we see more of that? Do we see them continue that? But again, my 3 keys to the game, 3 keys to victory: keep Keyshawn hot, win the boards, and master the zone. You do those 3 things, I think you have a really good chance at victory tonight in Oxford, which leads me into my prediction. A huge game at the Pavilion, for both sides, really. I mean, Ole Miss desperately needs a win before their season truly spirals out of control. And South Carolina, obviously, if they're going to make any type of postseason run, this is the type of swing game, as I mentioned earlier, that I think you have to have. Now, with that being said, I will say this. I'm very intrigued to see what the Vegas line is going to be, because many of you will look at this game, you'll look at the records, you'll look at the statistics, and you'll say, Chris, it's a no-brainer. You've got to pick South Carolina. They've got the better record. They should win the game. I think we're going to be surprised at what Vegas labels this game as and what they put this number at. It would not shock me at all to see the Rebels as a favorite in this one. And listen, I don't think Ole Miss is some great team. I mean, obviously, again, their record shows you that, right? But on their home floor and the history of this series, as I told you guys earlier, there are teams that, for whatever reason, Frank Martin just has their number, and South kind of plays better against them, it seems, and they just tend to beat them and have success. And there are other teams that South kind of plays that Frank Martin struggles against, that for whatever reason, they just can't get the job done. Unfortunately, Ole Miss is one of those teams that you struggle against. You've lost 3 straight against the Rebels. And I'll tell you this, while you did some really nice things in Athens against Georgia, I'm not getting lost or caught up in, oh, man, you had a great win over the Georgia Bulldogs, the worst team in the SEC. Guys, just because you beat up on a bad UGA team, that's not going to make me lose sight of all of the problems and all the deficiencies and all the shortcomings of this roster, this program, and its head coach. I just think you look at it again, guys, and the only thing you can really bank on is maybe you can ride positive momentum. Maybe Ole Miss is just so down and out that you can take advantage. And again, I don't think they're some great basketball team, but neither are you. Neither are you. And again, it's going to take a lot more than a victory over Georgia for me to be convinced otherwise. Again, you are 5-7 in SEC play. 4 of those wins are against Georgia and Vanderbilt. And the other win was against a bad Texas A&M team. So show me. I've got to see it before I believe it, before I can pick South Carolina to go on the road and get a big SEC win. Again, I don't think Ole Miss is a great team, but neither are you. And there's nothing that tells me from the way this season has gone, this team's going to put back-to-back good performances together in a game that you desperately need. Guys, with that being said, as much as it pains me to say, I am picking the Rebels. Again, I'm not getting lost in the sauce. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid just because you beat the Georgia Bulldogs, who's the worst team in the SEC. I think you go on the road. Ole Miss will play an inspired performance tonight on their home floor. They've lost 3 in a row. They cannot afford to lose another. I think it's a very close back and forth game. I think the trend is bucked. I don't see South going to lose in this game by double digits, but I do have the Rebels getting the win in this one. Lock me in, guys. I've got Ole Miss 68, South Carolina 65. And again, a game that could go either way. It's truly a coin flip, but I'm not ready to buy South Carolina stock. I'm just not doing it. Again, it's going to take a lot more than a victory over the Georgia Bulldogs, who's the worst team in the league, to make me think, oh yeah, we've turned some corner. Like, we're a lot better than I expected. And guys, South Carolina is what it is. They are who they are. And again, I know Ole Miss isn't very good, but I just, the inconsistencies that have followed this team, I expect more of the same in Oxford. And I think for that reason, Ole Miss will get the win. Again, lock me in, guys. Rebels 68, Gamecocks 65. So again, guys, that's going to do all for me here on this Tuesday. Hey, last Tuesday, by the way, without a midweek preview because, of course, this time next week, we'll be talking South Carolina playing in their first midweek game at Founders Park. Of course, guys, we sit here opening day just 3 days away. And again, guys, like I said yesterday, stay tuned for all of our announcements regarding opening day content, opening weekend content. I'm working on some things, maybe just maybe, a tailgate or two this weekend. I don't know. We got to figure that out. But either way, stay tuned for all that. A lot of exciting stuff happening. And we're counting down the seconds, counting down the days until opening day and this game tonight. Folks, appreciate you all tuning in. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Go Cox, beat Ole Miss, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.